This month, I'm going to be talking to you about anger. So, anger is one of our primary emotions. It's as primary as happiness and sadness. It's something that we all feel, it's normal and it's appropriate. And we feel it on a really wide range. So, we can feel it from mild annoyance all the way up to intense rage. So, this month, we're going to be thinking a little bit more about anger. So we naturally feel and express anger through aggression. So anger is a way of us preparing to fight or defend ourselves from an attack. So the bodily response is quite similar to that of anxiety in that it's linked to the fight, flight and freeze response in our brains. So our amygdalas, which is the part of our brain which is responsible for emotion, which sits in the middle of our brains, triggers this response which floods our body with adrenaline and cortisol, so our stress hormones, our heart rates increase, our blood pressures, our body temperatures, our respiration rates, everything increases and rises. We get this burst of energy, our muscles tense, so it's preparing us, which is why then you'll find that people clench their fists, everything is tensed, our focus in our minds narrows and focuses down onto the thing that has triggered the anger. So it's very difficult to focus on anything other than what is making us angry. And this heightened state stays there for quite a long time. It takes quite a while for us to calm down. And when we're in this heightened state, it's very difficult for us to form new memories, which is why you might find that when somebody's been involved in an intense altercation or a big argument, that they really struggle to remember the details of what happened during that argument. But we do calm down eventually, and the part of our brain that's responsible for that is our prefrontal cortex, and that sits just behind our foreheads. And that part of our brain is responsible for our emotion regulation, keeping our emotions in proportion. It's responsible for our judgment. We experience anger because it's appropriate for us to experience anger. It's useful to us. What anger does is it helps us to disconnect and separate from things. It helps us to respect ourselves, identify our needs, stand up for ourselves. Essentially, it gets us ready to fight for something. Now, when we're talking about fighting, what anger often makes us feel like doing is physically or verbally fighting with somebody. But what we're talking about here is fight in terms of a motivator. So anger gets us ready to fight for what it is that we think that we need. So it gets us ready to do something about a situation that we're not happy with. So that's really useful. But anger can be quite uncomfortable for us to feel. It can be uncomfortable for others around us if it is not experienced and expressed in a helpful way. So this month, we're going to think a little bit more in depth about what causes people to feel angry, so some of those trigger points, how people express that anger, and then a little bit about how to exercise and engage that prefrontal cortex, that parts of our brain that is going to bring the levels down, enable us to engage some judgment in our experience of anger.